very good morning to you. Here is the news at 11 on Premier FM 93.5. We begin with the headlines. Public schools resume in Oyo State after solidarity strike. Experts proffer lasting solution to insecurity. South African police arrest over 900 people over anti-immigrant protest. What happened this day in history? Find out in our Lest We Forget segment. Heart of the matter is on curbing violence in politics. You can track us on www.radionigeriaibadan.gov.ng, X, Instagram and Facebook at PFM935 Ibadan. I'm Emilia Ojemudia. Now the details of the news. Public primary and secondary schools in Oyo State have resumed following directives from the national leadership of the Nigeria Union of Teachers and UT that the 1-month-old strike should be called off. The strike, which commenced on the 1st of last month, was in solidarity with 39 students and teachers attacked and kidnapped from schools at Uriri local government area of the state. Confirming the resumption, this happened on the 15th of May, I beg your pardon. Confirming the resumption, one of the vice principals at Akbata Grammar School, Logudu, Mrs. Mujisola Olawale, noted that the students had resumed while academic activities started immediately. In other schools visited in Ibadan metropolis, at Bashorun, Monia, Iwo Road and others, Radio Nigeria correspondent observed that students are back to their classrooms. The federal government has launched the distribution of 1 million improved hybrid cocoa seedlings to restore aging plantations and strengthen Nigeria's position as a leading producer of premium cocoa. Speaking at the inauguration of the initiative at the Cocoa Research Institute of Nigeria, CRIN, Ibadan, Oyo State, the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Kyari, said the program aligned with the Renewed Hope agenda aimed at improving farmers' income, raising household living standards, expanding export opportunities, and building resilience against economic hardship. Senator Kyari noted that the improved seedlings were expected to begin bearing pods within 2 years and would support the gradual replacement of aging cocoa farms that had become less productive.
This is the first concrete step in a national effort to rebuild Nigeria's cocoa industry. 1 million improved seedlings to lead this institute for farms across our producing states, replacing aging trees, raising yields, and putting better planting material in the hands of farmers who have waited too long for it. Lift the livelihood of our farmers, grow our export earnings, and return Nigeria to a leading place in the global cocoa economy.
Senator Kyari urged the National Cocoa Management Committee and the compliance platform working with farmers on traceable and farm mapping to ensure compliance with European Union standards. The Executive Secretary, Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria, Dr. Adamu Debra, said the initiative had renewed the confidence and demonstrated collective commitment to building a stronger Nigerian cocoa industry through the development and distribution of improved cocoa seedlings. Reacting, the President, Cocoa Association of Nigeria, Mr. Muftau Abolarinwa, said cocoa had long remained one of Nigeria's leading export commodities and major source of foreign exchange. While appreciating the federal government and the organizers of the program, the acting executive Director, CRIN, Dr. Rashid Adidiji, said the initiative would restore aging plantations, encourage youth participation in agriculture, and boost export earnings. Scientists have stressed the urgent need to harness science and technology to address the growing challenges of human and resource insecurity in Nigeria. They made the submission at the 12th Annual Conference of the Faculty of Science, the Polytechnic Ibadan. Delivering the keynote address, Oyo State Commissioner for Energy and Mineral Resources, Professor Dahoud Shongodun, identified insecurity, climate change, food shortages, and the illegal exploitation of mineral resources as major obstacles to Nigeria's socio-economic development.
The journey of what Nigeria should be in terms of development, in terms of technology, in terms of AI, in terms of innovation. That is what has actually brought this one up.
Also speaking, the lead paper presenter and head of Department Zoology, University of Ibadan, Professor Ino Adeogun, called for the stronger collaboration among polytechnics, universities, research institutes, industries, and policymakers to ensure that research outcomes translate into practical solutions. In his welcome address, the Dean of the Faculty of Science, Mr. Gabriel Egbedukun, said Nigeria was facing various security, economic, and environmental challenges. The conference featured the presentation of awards to distinguished personalities, including the keynote speaker, Professor Dahoud Shangudoyin, in recognition of their outstanding contributions to the field of science. Now, away from education, the 65th investiture ceremony of Rotary Club of Nigeria comes up today. The investiture, which will take place at the quarter 570 Simeon Adebo Crescent, Iyagokun, GRA, Ibadan, Oyo State. In a statement issued by the Investiture Planning Committee Chairman, Mr. Michael Ajao, the ceremony is the inauguration of the 65th president of the club, Mr. Musa Busari Akeri, and his board of directors. The statement implores all members to make it a colorful one. Christians have been charged to live their lives according to the mandate of God, so as to resurrect with God when death comes. The parish priest, Saint Leo Catholic Church, Orita Challenge, Ibadan, the Reverend Father Charles Acheneje, gave the admonition at the Christian wake for the former Deputy Director Programs of the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, FRCN, Ibadan Zonal Station, Mr. Gabriel Ono Onafurume. The Reverend Father Acheneje, who noted that Mr. Onafurume was a good Christian during his lifetime, urged believers to live holy lives to enable them walk with Jesus Christ, adding that it is not how long Christians live, but how well. The first child of the deceased, Mr. Ono Onafurume, described his father as a rare gem and a freedom fighter who taught his children how to be versatile. In their separate tribute, representatives of the Association of Landlords, Kasumu Estate, Ibadan, Oyo State, and members of the Psychology Students Association, University of Ibadan, class of 91, said the deceased was an intelligent man and a lover of peace. Also, his wife, Mrs. Ochuku Onafurume, who emphasized how loving her husband was, said he was a fighter and always positive in all he did, adding that his love and care would be greatly missed. Among those present at the wake were serving and former members of staff, Radio Nigeria, Ibadan Zonal Station, Urubu Progressive Union, family members and friends. Burial service for Mr. Gabriel Ono Onafurume holds on the 10th of this month at Kokori Inland, Ethiopia East Local Government Area of Delta State. You're on to the news at 11 on Premier FM 93.5 from the stable of Radio Nigeria. Do stay with us. We'll be back shortly. Thank you for still being there. Now, on this day in 2008, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, charged former Aviation Minister Babalola Bolishade and Femi Fani-Kayode for misusing a $165 million aviation intervention fund intended to upgrade safety infrastructure following a series of tragic airline crashes. Now quickly to the foreign scene, South African police have arrested more than 900 people during the nationwide anti-migrant protests. The demonstrators were organized by a coalition of more than 20 civil society groups with an unofficial deadline for undocumented migrants to leave the country. Keep yourself warm this season to avoid catching a cold. Let's now bring you today's Heart of the Matter, where Olawale Ashake of our Current Affairs Unit writes on curbing violence in politics.
Violence has no place in a democratic society. Democracy thrives on the free exchange of ideas, healthy political competition, and the will of the people expressed through the ballot box, not through intimidation, bloodshed, or fear. Yet, political violence remains one of the greatest threats to Nigeria's democratic development, undermining public confidence in the electoral process and endangering lives and property. The increasing incidence of violence, intimidation, and attacks before, during, and after elections has become a source of serious concern. Rather than serving as a contest of ideas, policies, and programs, politics has in some instances degenerated into a desperate struggle for power in which human lives are lost. Political violence is not merely an attack on individuals, it is an assault on democracy, the rule of law, and national unity. The concern is particularly relevant as Osun State prepares for its governorship election, with reports of politically motivated violence heightening public anxiety. This calls for restraint by political actors and renewed vigilance by all stakeholders to ensure a peaceful, credible, and transparent electoral process. Several factors continue to fuel political violence, including intolerance, desperation for power, the proliferation of illicit arms, inadequate security, youth unemployment, and a culture of impunity that allows perpetrators to evade justice. When offenders are not held accountable, violence is emboldened and democracy is weakened. Addressing this challenge requires a collective commitment. Political leaders and their parties must reject violence in all its forms, avoid inflammatory rhetoric, and resolve grievances through lawful and democratic means. Political opponents should be seen as rivals, not enemies. Elections should be won through persuasion, sound programs, and the confidence of the electorate, not through coercion or bloodshed. Security agencies must strengthen intelligence gathering, respond promptly to threats, and ensure that perpetrators of politically motivated violence are thoroughly investigated and prosecuted without fear or favor. The rule of law must prevail at all times, irrespective of political affiliation or status. Those who sponsor, finance, or perpetrate electoral violence must be made to face the full weight of the law, as accountability remains a strong deterrent to future violations. Similarly, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), civil society organizations, religious leaders, traditional institutions, and the media must intensify voter education and promote dialogue, tolerance, and peaceful coexistence. Political parties should also educate their supporters on peaceful conduct and respect the outcome of credible elections. Citizens, especially young people, must resist every attempt to be recruited as political thugs or agents of violence. No political ambition is worth the loss of life or the destruction of communities. As the nation prepares for the 2027 general election and other off-cycle polls, every stakeholder has a responsibility to protect the nation's democracy. Elections should produce winners and losers, not victims. Only when ballots, not bullets, determine political leadership can the nation's democracy continue to grow and command the confidence of its people.
That script on curbing violence in politics was written by Olawale Asake of our Current Affairs Unit and presented by Belinda Quadri. To end the news at 11, here again are the top stories. Public primary schools across Oyo State have resumed following directives from national leadership of the Nigeria Union of Teachers to call off their one-month-old strike. Scientists have stressed the urgent need to harness science and technology to address growing challenges of human and resource insecurity in Nigeria. On the foreign scene, we told you that South African police have arrested more than 900 people during the nationwide anti-migrant protest. And that's the end of the news at 11 here on Premier 93.5 FM, as put together by Oluseyi Olarinde. My name is Emilia Ojimudia. Thanking you for your time. Next is Akojopo Irunyi. That's the Yoruba version of this news, and Ambassador Aditayo will be our guide.